Okay, so I think we are set and ready for the start, and that's always the time to say hello to our expert. And this is a well-known face, I would say. Welcome back, Michael.
Yeah, happy to be here, Stefan.
I think we have counted. It's now your fifth approach here.
I think it's the fifth time here, yeah.
And always with very interesting and new content. So today we will talk about, I said yesterday in the preparation, the dream of the guys, but maybe it's also, of course, the ladies. But I think railway is something everybody can relate to. Being a child, seeing outside. I was traveling with a train this morning. So how comes that you talk about this today?
Yeah, I think it's for us a key transport technology. So it's on freight transport, but it's also on passenger transport. So we use it every day. It's a really efficient one. It can cover long distances. It can really cover high loads. And as mentioned, it's really efficient. We're going to talk about about the efficiency. And yeah, it's a key transport technology. And what is not that known is hydraulics is a part of it, and also Rexroth is a part of it, and I want to make that a bit more clear. I think we know some famous branches like industries like metallurgy, or if we talk about presses, hydraulics is really clear that it is in, but not that much in the railway section.
So I learned definitely a lot in the preparation, so I'm sure all the participants will learn, but I always mention, please give us a really good insight in the actual way, so by giving application examples.
Yeah,
I think this is relevant.
We will definitely do that.
It's up your stage now.
Thanks a lot. So also very warm welcome from my side. So let's start a bit with the background. Where is railway coming from? And I mentioned it a bit from horsepower to high speed. So of course it all started in the pre-steam area. So really we're talking about wooden rails, the first wagons that were pulled by humans or by horsepower, for example, for coal. Then of course we had a big century with the topic of the steam engines. So James Watt with some really interesting inventions in that time, and it was really a century that was dominated by the steam engines. Afterwards, there was the development of the electric driven ones, first with galvanic cells, and then also with the overhead wires. We had some big achievements there from the Siemens brothers, and then of course we also came to the topic of the diesel powered ones. And this is the main one we're going to talk about, diesel and diesel electric powered vehicles. Of course, at the moment we see quite a lot in the high-speed area, so a lot in the electric area, so high-speed trains. When we talk about TGV, ICE, or even in China and all that areas, we have plenty of this coming up. And of course, we also have the topic of hydrogen as one of the new technologies that is emerging and that is getting more and more important also for the railway section.
Yeah, and yeah. Two names, high speed. I just remember my last travel to China before the COVID crisis. I was traveling from our plant in Wujin back to Shanghai with 360 kilometers per hour. This was crazy, but really, really great. And hydrogen, I think it's a topic most of you know. We are in this field as Rexroth, as a company in hydraulics. And if you're interested in a little more on hydrogen, you have to come to our Hanover Fair booth in April, or there will be also a web seminar based on this topic. So I was curious that it's already in here, but of course it's part of the game.
Yeah.
But still, I think some more facts would be interesting here.
Yeah. Let's look a bit in the market first of all, to get about information on the installed base. So it's around about 68,000 railroad vehicles. So we're talking mainly about rail cars and locomotives. And we're just talking about the EU and the UK. So these are some information from the International Energy Agency report from 2022. So just to have some figures around about that market. And if we look into the split of the energy, so the energy mixture is 50-50 roundabout. So a bit slightly more for the diesel powered vehicles, but it's around about 50-50. If we look more detailed into the freight transport section, there we have 2/3 of the transportation is done by diesel powered vehicles. And what is quite interesting is if we're looking into the CO2 emissions. So I talked on that, Stefan, quickly before. We're going to look into that. So still with this mixture of 2/3 by diesel powered locomotives in the freight section, it's still 6 times less CO2 emission than we would put it on the road by trucks. So it's a really efficient technology due to sustainability. And of course we have long service life cycles. So the normal lifetime of such a railroad vehicle is more than 30 years roundabout. And we also see that there's a lot of retrofits going on. So we have retrofits in regard to hydrogenated vegetable oil. So that means with low emissions, so different fuels that we use, or even the B100 fuel, what is well known in the industry. So it's really also the service lifetime of these existing applications will be enlarged due to these retrofits. And normally, Stefan, we have around about 4 to 6 years of service life cycles for the hydraulic components.
I would say these are really, really impressive numbers.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's kind of a big industry, to be honest. And from a service aspect, if I see 30 years of cycles, I think this is quite interesting to be there. So I think you already understand what are the market needs, the drivers. What would you say is it?
Yeah, so if we look into the goals that the industry have, of course, the first big point is the energy cost. Energy cost and directly combined with the topic of low emissions. But the second part is what you can have with the abbreviation RAMS. So R for reliability, A for availability, M for maintainability, and S for safety. And these are key aspects where Rexroth can help with his service offers to really get the benefits out and to really secure these goals of the industry. And that's what we're going to look into with our key offerings for the industry.
But before we go into these offerings, I would be interested in the portfolio of customers that you're serving. Is it regionally based, or how would you say?
They are, of course, big players, big OEMs. Of course, we have local end users. Like if we're talking, for example, in Germany, we have the Deutsche Bahn as one of the big operators. We have that but also local subsidiaries in Germany. But of course, we have that in all the other country units as well. But of course, there are really some big players in the market.
So let's have a look.
And yeah, first of all, we have to say Rexroth is not an OEM in that section. So there's not a train with a big Rexroth sign on it. This is not what we're doing, but we're one of the key suppliers for that industry. So our products are part of many, many trains. And I just put here some names of the key OEMs in that section. So we're talking about Stadler, we're talking about Alstom, we're talking about Bombardier, we're talking about Siemens, Vossloh, and so on. So there are plenty of them that are really well known. And I also marked some of them in yellow because we separate them. We separate them because we call them the yellow fleet, what we say. So it's about the rail construction vehicles. So the well-known ones are Plaza and Teurer, Harsco, Linsinger, Robel, Matisa, and so on. But there's also plenty of hydraulics that is used in these applications.
So I think before you now enter a little more into the applications and then into the service offering, let's have a question to our audience. You will get the question right now on your screens. Are you currently working with Rexroth for railway topics? As you said, sometimes you're always wondering if hydraulics is in and even if Rexroth is active in this field. So obviously we are. So let's have a look. We have a quite huge range of yes, which is quite nice, I would say.
Good, yeah, definitely.
Also, well, with Rexroth partners, I think that's also part of the game.
Of course.
Directly with the train manufacturer is significantly low, I would say. That's quite interesting. So as the answers coming in, you maybe already can reevaluate on this picture. Is this something that you get from experience?
Sometimes we also see a bit less than they are already working with us, as it's not clear for everybody that hydraulics is part in the train area, but happy to see that. But of course I also see like 15% no, so maybe we can give some more insights and even talk a bit about the applications and what is our service benefit for the customers.
I think that may be the next point for me, already interesting, the technical background, I would say.
Yeah. We looked a bit about the market now and what it is about, installed base, what are the key players, the key OEMs, and now I want to focus on the applications that are driven by hydraulics. And generally speaking, it's 3 main applications. So we're going to look into the hydrostatic auxiliary drives. We're going to go into that more deeply. Then the second point is we're going to go into the hydrostatic traction drives. And the third point is we're going to look into the working hydraulics. These are the 3 major applications that we have hydraulic driven in locomotives. So let's start with the first one. And you see here a small schematic. So it's about the hydrostatic auxiliary drives. What is that about? It's about generator drives, compressor drives, and the fan drives. So you see in schematics here, you have the diesel engine in the middle, the pump mounted to it. You see the flow that is generated by the pump. and you see the fan that is driven by the motor. So the fan drive is exactly there to dissipate the heat that is generated by the engine's combustion. The generator, of course, is to generate electricity based on the hydraulic power. And of course, we have the compressor to generate compressed air. So these are the main auxiliary drives that are driven by hydraulics. Of course, in stationary applications, this is mainly not done by hydraulics, but in such cases, this is driven by hydraulics. And we use a clear portfolio for these applications. So normally we use the A10VO as the variable pump. What is really well known in that section is the A2FM motor. That is the main motor for the topic of the fan drive, compressor, and so on. And we also use the A10FE as a motor. And of course, additionally, we have some sensors, we have the tank control unit, and so on. But to make that a bit more clear, I have some pictures and also some examples out of the market where you can find that. I think these pictures, and Stefan, as you said, you traveled today by the
exactly with one of these.
Deutsche Bahn here. Maybe this could be one of these. I think the color is quite clear. This is a well-known OEM. So these are typical applications where we, for example, have the fan drive. So the end users are miscellaneous. So the equipment, for example, here is the fan drive. And we have normally what we suggest is like have operating hours of 18,000 hours and then have a service. Yeah, this is an example. As I mentioned, we have the A10 in different sizes. We have the A2FM motor exactly here for the fan drive. In that regard, it's size 10 to size 45. This is what we use as components here.
18,000 operating hours. So what is a typical, so what does it mean in years?
Depending, of course, on let's say like 4 to 6 years, exactly what I said before.
Yeah. Quite long.
Yeah, definitely. So second example, we talked about the passenger locomotives before. That was one example. A second one is different locomotive types. For example, I took here an example from the shunting locomotives. We have plenty of them in all the rail area. And this is also a well-known OEM type. We have also hundreds of them out in the market. And you can see, when you see in the upper right picture, you have a view into the open locomotive with the tank. Then you also see the compressor motor, so it's not just the fan drive, it's also the compressor drive here. In that regard, it's again an A2FM motor in the size 6163. And additionally, you see the smaller fan motor here as well, mounted on a manifold, and this is in the size of 10 to 45. So in that regard, we also have the A10VO as the pump. For that example, it's the size 140. And the operating hours here a bit longer. It's about 24,000 operating hours. After that, we recommend a service for that.
So shunting locomotives, these are the engines that are moving things in the let's say train stations.
Yeah,
or
they're moving
operation areas. Yeah. Hundreds are in the market, you say?
Yeah, and if we talk about the picture before, the passenger locomotive, the rail cars there, it's thousands of them that we have in the different markets. Like you're traveling with them every day, so you know the best. Yeah, that's a bit about the hydrostatic auxiliary drives. But now we're looking also in a second kind of thing, and that's the hydrostatic traction drives. So we're really looking into the traction drive of these rail cars. You see it here also in the picture. We have the diesel engine, and directly mounted to that, the pump and then the drive motors. Where do we have that? We have that for specialized rail cars. Specialized rail cars that have to maintain a really, really low speed by steadily moving forward and by also then transporting high loads. So we're mainly talking about the rail construction area. So all the rail construction machineries, what we call the yellow fleet, as they are most of the times yellow. And we also have some clear components that we use in different sizes. Normally from the pump side, we use the A4VG, so the closed loop pump. We normally use the A6BM as the motor for that. And we also have some safety manifolds, sensors, and so on that we use in that regard. I said it already, it's mainly on the rail construction machinery. So all the typical ones, rail grinding, rail milling, ballast flow, track tamping, and all the others. So I cannot name them all. What is important, of course, the big part is the traction drives. But as mentioned before, we also have the hydrostatic auxiliary drives. So there's a bunch of hydraulics, especially in these vehicles. And when you look to the picture up on the right side, you see, for example, the traction drive directly on the rail. Normally, in that regard, if we're looking to the pump, it's the A4VG, size 124, and the A6 VM motor is size 107, for example.
Yeah, I would just want to say this is really impressive, because I just saw them last year in the construction of our track here, and these are really, really big machines. Yeah, and I just imagined how much weight they must have to be carried, and of course that's a typical hydraulic solution.
Yeah,
right?
That's a typical hydraulic solution, and as mentioned, it's a traction drive plus the additional auxiliary drives, and that directly, Stefan, brings us to the next point. If we're looking into the construction machinery, it's also on the working hydraulics that we're using for the job they are really doing, and that's the third major part. So it's on the working hydraulics, and this is really huge. The area of what they are doing is huge. I talked about rail grinding, I talked about milling, about ballast flow. So it really depends which components we use dedicated on the job that they are doing. So I cannot give a service recommendation on that. The portfolio of pumps, valves, cylinders, motors, what is used is broad.
I think that's quite clear. So now we digged a little into the, I would say, technology, the applications, and even the products used.
Yeah.
So now it's time for the service, right?
It's definitely.
So there are some offerings you have in this area.
Yeah, definitely. I think the key for such industries covering billions of kilometers every year in the harshest environments is exactly what we said with the RAMs: reliability, availability, maintainability, and safety. So the first is, of course, technical know-how, and we can technically support in many, many cases, and I will show you what we have as a team behind. Of course, then we go into the topics of spare parts. We will show some examples. We have non-seal spare parts, seal spare parts. We look a bit more into the topic of replacements and the topic of recoding, what we can do. So we can recode from competitor products. We can recode from old material numbers, but we can also recode from OEM material numbers. I'm going to let you know a bit more about that. Of course, we can use our benefits of a service. So we can use our fast assembly program. That means we can build up components really, really quick in a small lot size, 1, 2, 3, by our separate service building. So we not need to take into account our normal plants that have higher lead times. Then we're also going to look a bit in the repair, what offers we have. We also have one example on the field service job that we're doing in that section. We're quickly going to talk about trainings. So trainings, we can offer individual ones, standard ones, and also on-site trainings that you want to have on your specific equipment. And last but not least, Stefan, we're going to talk a bit on SiteroConnect, on the digital service that we also have, but we're just going to quickly tackle it, how we use it.
We did that, I think, 2 years ago already, more into detail, but let's have a small look to it. And I think for those that are quite new, I think the global distribution of the services is something Rexroth is well known and also big benefit for the customers. So let's give us some numbers here, please.
Definitely. I think one of our big benefits is our service network, so our global service network. So we're around about 2,000 service experts in Rexroth, round about in 180 locations with more than 200 service centers. What we have additionally is this so-called industry experts. So we have people that are focusing purely on one industry, and I have people in my team that are, for example, focusing purely on railway, and we have a worldwide connected team that is purely on the topic of railway. Of course, we're going to talk about repair, field service, and testing. What is important for us? We always want to talk with you on the topic of installed base, because then we can stock accordingly. If we know what's in your market, we will adapt and prepare for the upcoming service actions that can come up. An important point also, of course, is our global service network and our local presence. So that means we are close to you. Even if Rexroth is not directly there, one of our certified partners will be there and can support you in the best way.
Well, I think more than 200 service centers, that's a really awesome number of locations. Let's give us a look into one of these, please.
Yeah, I took one example here. So this is one of a service location right around the corner, I could say, actually, here in Lohr am Main. So this is our service facility in the middle of Germany. This is a separated service from the plant area, and this is really important. So we have our own incoming goods, outgoing goods. We're fully set as a separate building and with all the functions that we need. So the green building that you see here on the screen is all service, and it's round about 1.5 soccer fields from the size-wise.
Wow.
And this is round about, we have 17 test benches there with 27 test stations for all the materials that we do, so pumps, valves, cylinders, and so on. And within this service centers, we do around about 20,000 repair in Lohr, and we stock around about 20 to 21,000 material numbers.
Yeah, I was in this stock area. It's really impressive. But also the test benches, I think they're major, a crucial part. They must be quite big.
Yeah, definitely. So test bench is a crucial one. I'm going to talk about that when we look into the repair section. I just brought one example here. So this is a test bench that we use for repair of pumps. So this is one where we have 4 test stations. So we can go up to 1,000 liter per minute as a flow. The power is 200 kilowatt. The speed is going from 500 to 3,000 rounds per minute. And the pressure is up to 420 bar with a torque of 1,500 Newton meter. And this is for open and closed loop pumps. You see some detailed pictures here as well of one of the test stations where we can really test all the pumps, and then all the products that we repair are fully tested to our original manufacturer specification before they leave our company and come back to you as a new part with a new new warranty as well.
So you were already talking about repair, but looking at this overall offering, there's much more in it.
Yeah.
So maybe now it's time to give some concrete examples on the local offerings.
Exactly. And I want to quickly look into the topic of spare parts. Spare parts and the topic of recoding and retrofit. So we had a customer, we visited this customer, and after that visit, the customer came back to us and said like, you have been talking about recoding, and I have one case here where that could be helpful. So in that regard, we're talking about one old shunting locomotive, a smaller one. It's the Windhoff RW30DH. So this is using an old Sauer Danfoss pump. So it's a SPV2, which is not in production anymore, which could not be repaired anymore because there are also no spare parts available. So this was a big problem for the customer because he wanted, of course, to enlarge the lifetime and to keep this locomotive. So what did we do? We looked into that. What is this pump doing? So what is the function of the pump? We investigated on that. We came to the topic of the traction drive, and then we did an active recoding. So we looked into the hydraulic schematics. We looked into the original data sheet. We looked at what we have. We looked into our portfolio for these topics, and then we came up with a technical report for the customer telling him, okay, you can use the A4 VG in the series 32 with a detailed number. I posted it also here on the slides, which will definitely fit your needs. And we also gave within this technical report some recommendations what needs to be changed. Because of course, if you're doing a retrofit, this pump needs to fit into the locomotive. There's not that much space. In that regard, we had some benefits because our pump size is smaller than the existing one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it about recoding. So we can really support on that if we're talking about phased out products that are not in the market anymore, if we're talking about some competitor products as we see it here, but also if we're talking about OEM materials, where is it not always clear if this is a Rexroth component or not, please do get in touch with us and we really have a look into that section. That's it about the topic of spare parts and recoding. And now I want to talk a bit more about the repairs. So first of all, we can offer different levels of repair. Standard repair, urgency repair, emergency repair, but of course our fixed price repair. And the fixed price repair has some really good benefits because you have a kiosk security and you have a planning reliability. So you know exactly when you approach your customer what you have to pay at Rexroth and also what is the lead time for these components. And of course you can be secure that we use the original spare parts, and all our products are developed to the code of tribology. So all the surfaces are perfectly for the oil that you should use for these applications. Of course, I said it already, all the repairs have a 12 months new parts warranty. So after you get it back, you have security that they are working. And of course, you can rely on our maximum quality and reliability. I said it, all these products go to a test bench. They won't leave our plant if they are not tested, if they don't have the protocol of that. And of course, we do that to our own original manufacturer's specifications. Some key benefits, and of course you have some risks if you're not doing it with Rexroth. If you're doing it by a non-certified service center, we call them gray ones. Of course, it can be shortened service life and higher total cost of ownership. Liability risk, and this is also a big topic. A loss of productivity, of course, of quality, and of course that can also lead to increased climate impacts and longer maintenance times.
So I think that's quite crucial for the decision for Rexroth as a service partner. Also time for a question back to you in the audience. Talking about these risks, about these things that are driving you as a customer, please rank the terms below in order of importance. So thinking about pricing, quality, lead time, you can shift them with your cursor and let's say put up what you think it's most important. So let's give it a try and let's wait for more seconds. I would be really interested because
definitely it would be really
obviously
interesting.
All of them are quite relevant.
Yeah,
I would say, but what we want to understand is what is the most relevant one.
Yeah.
So let's see if it's getting. So we only have 10 answers in by 60 participants. We will wait for some more answers coming in. Yeah, but interesting. As you said yesterday, I was really surprised.
I gotta let you know why it's quality.
Okay, so quality even comes before price. Of course, yeah, looking at these service cycles, looking at these long times of the machines being in the field, I think quality definitely is the major issue, and I think that's what we're known for. But then, of course, price, lead time, availability.
Of course, is also a topic.
Sure. Yeah, so good to see that your idea was confirmed here. Thank you for this. So I would say let's dive a little deeper into the repair topic.
Yeah.
Getting a little more concrete.
Yeah. You wanted to know some examples. That's what you said. So fixed price repair, I talked about it. I talked about the benefits and the risks of not doing it with Rexroth. Here's the concrete example how we use it. We use it with one of our maintenance operators for railway vehicles. So he's responsible for repairs in the section of rail cars. So we saw that especially in the auxiliary drives, when we're talking about the fan motor, for example, we have the A2FM motor in smaller sizes. So what we defined is 8 material numbers, A2FM, size 12, 16 and 45, with dedicated fixed price repair. And additionally, we do with that customer a quantity review for each year to have a planning to also secure all the lead times. And that helps the customer a lot, and that also helps us a lot to be fast, to have the right quality, and of course also then to secure the price.
I think you brought a testing report with you?
Yes. I want to show a bit more how a repair looks and what you get as a feedback from Rexroth. And this is one of the typical reports that we have.
Situation here, as you've written here, there was some things done by, as you said, the gray sharks, as you call them, the smaller ones, and customer was not so satisfied or problems occurred?
It was exactly the way you say it. So we got that repair from one of our customers, and this customer already had it for an overhaul at a non-certified service center. So they told the customer, okay, this is fully repaired, but after the installation, after a short time, he had problems directly again with that component. And exactly this one is an A2FM motor for our fan drive. And you see as one of our standard reports here, exactly the one on that case. So you see we have the damage definition per component. We have some additional comments. We have further information. We also put in our repair measures. And additionally, we have an illustration of the damaged components. As I said, it came to us after an overhaul at a non-certified service center. So we opened the component, we looked into it. And what you can directly see here is that we see on the rotatory shaft, it was repolished. It's not that easy to see, but we also see a bit the run-in part where it's a bit lighter. Also, there are two lines where
you can show it in the screen.
Where you can let's do it in that way. I need to step a bit here. So you need to see it here above where it's grooved in. What we also can see if we look into the distributor plate and into the piston, it's grooved. So to sum it up, there was a problem. What they did, they changed the rotatory shaft seal, but that was not mounted in the right way from the gray one. So we saw that directly, but there was no replacement or nothing done on the other parts. So the piston was not changed. There was nothing done on the distributor plate and so on. So it was sold as a full repair to the customer, but it was just getting rid of the external leakage, but still there was also some problems.
And then within the working situation, it wouldn't have lasted for long.
Yep.
So coming to the total cost of ownership again, this would be not a good investment, right?
Definitely, and if the machine is then on the track, blocking the whole track, it's a big problem also for all the surrounding vehicles and for the plan that they have for the maintenance.
But you also brought a second example?
Yeah, I just want to show that this report is a standard report. So it's not just specifically for the pumps or for the motors. This is also for the valves, for example. It's quite clear here. You see the color of the valve. It's yellow, so it's one from the yellow fleet, from the Ray Construction machinery. Same structure of the report. What we can see here in one of the pictures is a foreign object. So we found that foreign object in the B channel. It should definitely not be there. This is what we found during the inspection. And if we see them additional pictures, so we also see at the main piston here that we have caviation and also a shiny part on the one side. So there's a part flagged off that should be actually, it shouldn't be shiny on that part.
On the left side of the piston, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if we also look into the piston rod, we see that there's caviation in the piston hole. We see also that there's a bit grooved in, that we have caviation there.
So this is, I don't know, this is a Rexroth product?
That's a Rexroth product.
So, but the question would maybe, what about competitor products? Is this also something that you're offering?
Yeah. So of course we're focusing on our products first to repair them. But if we're talking about with our customers and they say, okay, can we also take that one as well? Send it to us. Normally we can get it going. If there's a problem, we will tell the customer, but if there's a competitor product, also send it to us and we will repair it as well.
So we're talking now about repair in the repair centers?
Yeah.
But you also offer the, how you call it, field service?
Field service, yeah.
So repair on site in very urgent cases?
Yeah.
So yeah, this would be interesting too, I would say.
Exactly. So we will support you with all our fields, with our feet on the ground, with all the people that we have out in the market. In that regard, the customer asked us to do a troubleshooting on one of the locomotives we have. So we're again in the Ray Construction machinery again. There was a problem, so we sent out a technician who did a troubleshooting and then also investigated, okay, we need to bring it for an internal repair to a Rexroth facility. So what did the field service guy then do? He removed the double pump. You see that in the picture on the upper one, that is the removed double pump that we did. And I also brought a second picture from that job. That's the view from below on the train. So you see here two triple pumps where the double pump is above. So that's the job that we did for the customer. Of course, then we did the repair and afterwards it was mounted in. It was installed again also with support from us, with some help to the customer.
So I think quite impressive. Now talking about further services, you already see it here. The retrofit is it kind of an extension or is getting more relevant? How would you say?
It's getting more relevant, definitely. So of course, keeping up the lifetime of such a vehicle, but also due to the topic of digital services getting more and more important.
Okay. As we said, we already did a web seminar on this. So if you would like to have a look, go to our YouTube channel on the web seminar section or on our website, Connected Hydraulics. You will find it, but some more insights on the CytroConnect maybe would be helpful.
So our digital service portfolio for that is CytroConnect Solutions. So CytroConnect Solutions is a solution packages divided into three major parts. So we have a smaller one that is purely on monitoring. Then we have a second enlarged one, which is also on rule-based analytics. And then we have the third, the highest solution that we have. That is an AI-based analytics with full monitoring from our side with maintenance recommendations, with regular reporting on all the applications that we're monitoring. So the case that we see here is one of our customer projects where we got the request from a customer to support. We see here it's on a rail grinding and rail milling machine. So a big problem is what I already said. If this machine is working, the track section is blocked by this machine. So if there's any problem, of course, it causes high cost of downtime. And another important topic is if this machine cannot work because it's broke down, there are just few of them in the market, and it's not easy to get one of these machines to replace the other one. So that's not that easy. So the goal of the customer was, okay, I want to have more plannable maintenance. I really want to reduce my downtime cost, and I want to monitor these machines in the future also by my own expert team. So what did we do? We did really an analysis of the hydraulic schematics. Which sensors can we use? Which sensors need to be added additionally? Which data acquisition technology do we need? So which electrical cabinet and so on, specific of course for the railway section with all the requirements that we have to follow in that one. And then we did a check on the mountability. If that is really possible, what we plan, and then we did the retrofitting with our service guys, so with our field service at the customer site. Mounted everything in, and then now we do the monitoring of the application with the regular reporting and with all the customer, with the maintenance recommendations for the customer. That's what it is about, what we're doing in that regard. Just some more insights, what it is about. We're monitoring here the hydrostatic traction drive. So we're in the main pumps. We are on the main drive motors, so on the pressure, on the flow, on the temperature, on the pressure control line. And of course, we also take the side pumps and the oil quality with particles, with water content and so on into account.
That was it basically for the insights. Maybe let's have a look on the overall services again. So I think quite impressive. And as we always say, it's depending on the project. So I think the first entry will be the local service or sales location, the partners as we have them in today, but of course the experts. And I think there's a lot more content for this. So if you would like to have a look on it, go. Sorry?
Yeah, of course. I think we covered all the topics, Stefan. And as you mentioned, we have a lot more topics. So we have blog posts, we have brochures, we have web seminars on that topic. So if you want to know more about, for example, about why a repair at Rexroad is so important, more about spare parts, there's plenty of material. But also, as mentioned, look into our former web seminars. There are plenty of information.
And in the middle, you see Michael is also available via LinkedIn, so you can get him almost 24/7, I would say. Of course. Via this channel. So thanks for this already. I think this was a really, really interesting insight, even if we don't have I would love to have a small locomotive here. Maybe next time
we should do that, yeah.
But I hope you get some more insights, and just having a look at the questions, at the chat. Is there anything coming in? So it looks like you already answered everything.
Perfect.
Relevant. I think impressive offering. You get the information here. Before you leave, of course, I would like to say thank you for your participation today, and I hope you will join in to our next web seminar. This is on the 14th of March. We will talk about the very interesting field of energy efficiency. And yeah, please beware about all the information that will come via LinkedIn, for example, or directly for the partners. You will get an invite, of course. Again, thanks for being here, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
And please, before you leave, there are some feedback questions that will pop up. Give us a feedback. How you like this web seminar session? And yeah, hope to see you again next web seminar, or even live on the Hanover Fair or someplace else. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.